our own growth, our own participation in the market has really buoyed the stock market considerably. And as is the nature of the market, there are cycles when people make their profit, go out, come back, and so on. But not just leaving it there, between the RBI and the government, we've done some analysis and come up with an announcement last week where the bond markets can be a very good, magnet to absorb those capital which can come in, making it into, FAR, so that the compliance routines are not going to burden people, and the withholding tax treatment which we've offered, we think will be the first step towards drawing some capital back, although we've at the moment confined it only to the bond market. But certainly that's not the end of the story. We'll be doing more. We recognize we need more foreign capital to come in. But the fact that RBI has the fact that the RBI has now allowed public sector undertaking and banks to go out and pick money from outside, giving them a framework in which they can do it. And in that framework, a very important aspect is the hedging is at the RBI's expense. They don't have to hedge for the risks, particularly the currency-related risk, the volatility, the exchange rate risk. That will be on RBI. And as a result, the banks can now go unfettered to raise capital from outside. So we have taken a very calibrated approach to make sure that the markets do receive the required investments. The three large items which we import, paying foreign exchange, are all fluctuating, whether it is your crude, which luckily we have the capacity to refine, but the crude, not just the price of crude which keeps going up, but also the insurance cover and the risk which insurance demands to get your vessel going there and to get your vessel filled up and brought back. So price is a challenge. Foreign exchange reserve will have to be adequately kept for meeting these demands, growing demands. And growing demand is good because a growing economy requires these critical inputs. So it's the same thing as a business house, which will have these considerations before them, but for many of them, they don't have a say. They don't have a handle. So India's challenge is very similar. But of course, India's comfort is that you have a large domestic market, which is good enough with the consumption going up. But you still have a lot more intermediary and raw material products which you have to import. And that import is now under severe strain. So that's the challenge. And monsoon every year is a challenge for any finance minister. How will it work out? Will it be sufficient? Or is it going to be patchy, that some areas are going to be dry and some others are going to have excessive rain? That's a year-long, every year concern. But this year, because of the El Nino, I think we are preparing for not so good a monsoon. Of course, we have enough buffer stocks. Since last year we have maintained, so there shouldn't be a food shortage. But for farmers, it will have an impact because this year his income will be stressed out. So I think broadly, I'm not saying anything that you don't know, but these are the challenges, and I'm not sure how much of a provisioning can you make. Just for that one example of fertilizer import, we had, during the budget, very clearly said to ourselves that the Kharif we are sufficiently endowed with supplies of fertilizer so we can manage the Kharif. And we need money for tendering out for fertilizer that you may require for the Rabi, for which actually the supplies will start in November. Between the day of the budget and today, they've been at least 3 different major fluctuations. Some countries which do not want to get into the market, which are traditional suppliers, are no longer supplying. They want to stock it up for themselves. And there was fear that we are going to have short supply because those who have gone out are depleting the pool. But then came the news of China coming back, who had not been in the market for almost a year. So the supply was that shortage which people thought was offset. So 1 week you have a challenge, the next week that challenge is addressed, but newer challenges come up. So it's being ready for every such exigency.